Hey, hello, hello, hello. We're live again. I am not super good at streaming yet. My goal is to get better. And I know that I should probably have some kind of like thing that says that the thing's about to start so I don't have to like jump right in like that. But I don't know. It's kind of fun to do it. It's fun to be bad at things, I think. Anyway, as I drink into a microphone. Hello, and welcome back. What we've been doing for the last handful of streams is kind of over lunch. I've been working on the Epic React workshops, and so I started with the fundamentals, going through to hooks now, and yeah, just kind of like going through that process. I've learned a ton in each workshop. There's been a lot that I have like picked up for the first time, which is interesting. I've been writing React for like 10-ish years now, and or not quite. It'll be 10 in this December. And yeah, it's cool to like learn new basic things that I didn't know before. You know, and learning kind of like how often you don't run into problems if you just like follow the like rules or suggestions or best practices or whatever, but how that doesn't really necessarily teach you why you do a thing. You just kind of do it, and everything's great. So anyway, yeah, learned a bunch about keys, about kind of performance updates, or performance improvements you can do with set state, all kinds of cool stuff so far. So anyway, that it's been an exciting journey, and I appreciate all of you who've hung out with me and are learning along with me. So each time I do this, though, I like make a commitment to myself to spend like just like I don't know, a few minutes like afterwards. What's up, Anthony? Good to see you. To make this thing better, because like I want to be better at the whole streaming thing. I think that I'm okay at the not being afraid of coding part of it, but like in terms of like quality, not super good. But I'm learning, and so I have these things set up in Ecamm right now, which are pretty cool. I can show the last comment that I did, hide the last comment, pretty sweet. And then look at this. It doesn't look nice yet, but I connected. What's it called? Shoot. I don't know. All this stuff is just fun, but I connected Restream just for chat, and so it'll like put in all the chats between Twitch and YouTube, which is cool, which is great, awesome. So, ooh, sorry, that was probably loud. Without any further ado, let's like jump into the thing. How are you doing, Anthony? I miss seeing you. Are you going to conferences this year? That's what I want to know, and which ones? I'm only going to. Let's see. I'm going to two. I'm going to the one in Atlanta, Render ATL, and I'm going to the one in Utah, which is React Rally. Yes, React Rally. First year back, React Rally. I'm going to be teaching a workshop. Actually, let me go to my screen and pitch that. React Rally. .com, I assume. We start with the .com. Workshops. This is going to be me. I'm going to be teaching an intro to React. So probably actually going through a lot of the material that we're going through right now. So anyway, if you're going, get your tickets, hang out with me. It'll be awesome. So we have that. Doop. Close that. Also, I should do a stream one time, like when I'm not going through this React stuff, on Arc, because Arc is incredible. I freaking love it. Let's see, Anthony. Okay. Oh my gosh. Where's my mouse? Okay. React Miami, Remix Conf, and NG Conf. I have a ticket for Remix Conf, and I need to like either sell it or give it away to someone. So if you know someone who wants to go to React Conf or Remix Conf, let me know. And then NG Conf, tell me about that. Oh man, yeah. Render ATL is dope. Freaking love it. Okay. And I'm excited this year. It looks like it's going to be like just absolutely nuts. Let's see. Come to Remix Conf. Come see me. You know, I'm going to be in your town for React Rally. Oh, no, it's not your town anymore. Uh, do you think you might come to React Rally? We can hang out. You can show me around, Utah. These are all because of Edge.io. I actually suggested ngconf because I figured we could get a whole community that we don't interact with much in one place. Oh, cool. That's nice. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like um I feel like the Angular community is pretty cool. Like they kind of like had the hype cycle and now they're just kind of like doing their thing, which I'm into actually, like just kind of doing your own thing, like screw hype. Um yeah, so yeah, look at this. Look at these speakers. This has nothing to do with anything, but I mean like it's gonna be nuts. I'm excited to see Lori again. I haven't seen Lori in too long. Lori's great. Oh man, I'm excited to see all these people. I might have to bring my recording gear and like actually record something with these people because like, good Lord, to be in the same space with all these people and not capture something feels like a waste. Feels like a waste. Oh, heck yeah. You'll get it. You'll get it. Your talks are great. They're very, very engaging. It'll happen. Class act for sure. You know what? Actually, I was going through my phone and I saw, what was it? Okay, so I was on my phone. I saw a picture from JSConf 2018 where Lori gave a talk talking about like npm, the state of like JavaScript, TypeScript, kind of like talking about how like TypeScript was taking over before everyone realized that TypeScript was taking over. Talked about React and kind of like what it would need to do to transcend into like the browser or kind of like have kind of the kind of everlastingness, the like transcend into like a jQuery type of thing that just kind of like sticks around forever, even though like a lot of it did transcend into the browser. Like anyway, like that talk was like so interesting. I think it was like 2018, and yeah. Anyway, it just really it caught my attention then, and like parts of it still resonate with me now. All right, let's code. Or kind of something kind of like coding is about to happen. Something that loosely resembles coding. Okay, so yesterday I was kind of on this like super just like kind of like torturously embarrassing streak of trying to do this final I mean we did this whole thing using useState with tic-tac-toe, and I was just kind of going through this final example and just having the roughest time. And so like let's recount some of that, like what I had done that was like super embarrassing. So like let's get back here. I gotta load some of this back into my brain. So like I couldn't figure out, I kept being off by one on like showing the history. And so I kind of resorted to just doing things manually, like writing every single div out for every single case, just so I could like, I don't know, see what was happening, which was, unpleasant, but is what it is. Uh, yeah. Nate Dunn, welcome. And sick. Yeah. Come say hi. Love to meet you. It'll be fun. Render was sick last year, and it's supposed to be even sicker this year. Yeah, they were talking about like some wild numbers about how many people are going to attend that conference. So, I mean, it's going to be fun. Gonna be fun. Okay, cool. So, I think I kind of, as I was not thinking about this last night, I was kind of realizing that some of my confusion may be because I'm trying to do too many things in this component so far. I was trying to change as little as possible, but I think that kind of bit me in the butt because now we have this concept history, but then also squares, and so there's just a lot of weirdness inside of this. And I was thinking last night that maybe it would be easier for me mentally if I pulled that out. And then I was remembering this little cue here, saying that this is what their game board looked like, or what their game looked like at the end of the refactor, which kind of got me thinking like, oh, yeah, actually that makes sense. Because we'll want the history, but then we'll want to like maybe pass squares in here, which actually, yeah, current squares. See, look. So I have to be able to separate the history. And I was running into that, right? Because I couldn't show the full history and go to a history at the same time. I was kind of replacing that history state. So that's what I'm going to start with today, is kind of moving that stuff around, to make sure I like, just to kind of rework it. And I think that this is like something that I guess like kind of like personal rant. This is something that I find a lot of times very helpful. Software update. Nope, not right now. Is like when you come up to these things where you're like, okay, I don't really understand what's going on, like going through and like literally writing it all out. Or when something feels kind of unnecessarily difficult, like making sure that you take a moment and put things in the right places, just kind of like tidy up a little bit. And then I think that a lot of times it becomes a little bit easier to identify what the problems are. So let's try that. So we'll move history out first as kind of like a first step. What's up? Hey, good to see you, Travis. Hey, I heard that you won like AirPods or something like that. That seems like kind of like a fun thing. What was the event for that? I totally missed that. I want to know. Okay, so first things first, we need to move history out, and there's probably going to be some things that break, and that's fine. But I think because of the way that we had done this, it shouldn't be too bad, because we'd like aliased it, right? So we just kind of kept squares the same, and then we like put history somewhere else, and then just kind of like pulled the latest from history. So we should be able to move that into our app. Okay, so we move that there, and then let's just keep squares. Let's call this current squares though. Current squares. And then pass that in squares. Okay, current squares. Syntax error. Oh, clear history is no longer a function that's in scope. So we need to fix that. Here, wait, let's do this first. Let's finish this process. One thing at a time. Let's finish this. Let's take our board and take squares as a prop. Okay, so now we have squares as a prop. That's fine. Set history. Oh, okay. So we're going to have some other things that we need to change first. Okay, so set history. Okay, so how is this going to be? So okay, so they set this up as on click. It's kind of an interesting choice to have on click. Oh, no, this is like, oh, okay, gotcha. The game board all moved. Okay. But it's still board on click. I don't love that name, personally. So I'm going to change it. Let's see. On square. You know what? I never know like the tense, like on square select, on square selection, on square. I mean, I guess I could do like on square click. I like being really specific here because maybe there could be like an event in the future where you click somewhere, out of the board. So yeah, I like being really specific. I kind of like on square select, on square. I'm just gonna make it as long as I can. I'm gonna prefer the longer one. Why not? Um, oh, Lord help me. Um, oh, UI.dev newsletter. Yes. Okay. I tweeted the React visualized. Yes. What's up, Anthony? Nice. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do that, and then here we'll use set history, and I guess we'll need to take a new board. I think. Actually, right now it should just work, right? If with the way that we have it, if I pass set history in, there shouldn't be an issue. Let's see. So set history. So we'll just take it as was it set? Problem with the long name is I don't remember what I called it. On square selection. Who hates this name? Who hates it already? See, this is I spent a lot of time thinking about it from the API end and not the consumer end. And that's the end that you should be thinking about it for sure. On quadrilateral chosen via mouse or keyboard. That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yes. So on square selection is fine enough, right? So we'll change this set history to on square selection. Now clear history is in scope here, and I want to make sure. Let's see. I don't think that this is a function that relies on anything. Yeah, it just returns an array. A new array. So we can pull this out because it doesn't rely on state or props or anything like that. And moving that out of scope should make it available to our app. Yes, which it does. So that should make a couple errors go away. And then set history is not defined. So we have one more set history that's problematic right here. So this will be on square selection. And then we gotta change all the histories. Oh, we have that go to history as well. Okay, so okay, so the history. What are we doing with the history in all of these cases? So okay, so here we're jumping to a certain line in history. So that actually needs to move out anyway. So that's not going to be here. It's going to be up here. Let's hide that for now, though. And then what else are we doing? Oh, we're showing the history. Okay, so we're doing my stupid thing that I was doing before, which is to kind of... Whoops. And that would go on the kind of like application level theoretically. So do we have oh no. Game board. Oh my gosh. Okay. Good Lord. Cannot code. Ugh. Okay. I hate moving around like large blocks of text. Okay, so this is going to be on this level, I think. think. Okay, so right now I'm just kind of moving everything to the point that it like has the data that it needs, just moving everything around. Reset, go to history. So that means that these functions, so this function right here, go to history, is, oh man, I feel like I'm gonna end up moving these again because now I'm putting everything on the app level, but it probably needs to be on a game level. Good Lord, I hate moving code around. Okay. Restart, clear history. Okay, so that one's gonna go. Finally, we're kind of getting somewhere. I mean, some people find refactoring fun. Do you find refactoring fun? And then, like, what are the constraints under which it is fun? Like, a lot of this stuff, I want to I want to modularize a lot of this stuff, right? Like, none of this is React. I could probably like put that somewhere else, and stop tripping over it. Great at naming things, yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. I like the long names. I prefer the long names. Okay, so on square selection, so I put that. Okay, so these are actually these are now set history. Yes. Okay. So set history will, clear the history and then set history. Okay. So this won't behave like we want it to, but it will behave like it did before, theoretically. I've got an old coworker who loves refactoring, calls himself a code plumber. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, there was a time that I really maybe liked it. Like, and yeah, I liked the metaphor of remodeling. I thought remodeling was really interesting. Code remodeling, I really liked that idea. I think maybe kind of depends, right? Like what the motivation is. Like if like in this, it's like I'm just kind of like doing it to understand it better. But in a code base, I would be doing it for some type of like relief of pain, presumably, right? Like there's something that's really difficult to do on a repeated basis. And that's when I want to refactor it because it's like we know exactly what it's supposed to do. This is kind of weird because I don't know exactly what I'm going for yet. I'm just kind of like moving stuff around. And so I think it feels a little bit more arduous because I just don't know what I'm moving towards, versus like doing it from pain and knowing exactly what we want it to work like. Big fan of pain as a motivator. Okay, so let's find out what I did wrong. That's the so many things. Okay, can't read property. Okay, so what was that? The above error occurred in board. Okay, so it gives me an error. We saw this recently, reading property of 0. Let's see. These shouldn't be problematic because there's a gate in front of them. Okay, so go to history. It's saying nothing calls go to history, which is right because I just removed those. So let's hide that. And then what do? We pass down squares and on square selection. Yes. And then this should just be working in squares now. Squares and on square selection. So winner is calculate winner of squares. Next value is calculate next value of squares. Okay, great. Function select square of square. Okay, so this is going to get a square. It doesn't get called yet. Square is a square. Okay, yes. On square selection, history. Oh, okay, we don't have history here. Oh, yeah, we do. Because we will get it not from scope, but from the call, like as an argument to the callback, right? So we have so we do have history, which is honestly one of the greatest advantages of doing it this way is that you can, it's easier to change in the future without like renaming of a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so we take, but we don't have. So we're going to call on square selection. Now this knows too much. Okay, so I think this needs to actually go out. Yes, it does. Okay, so let me think of like what we want. So what we want here is to call on square selection with the square, right? That would make sense given the name, but I wonder if the name's wrong, right? So we have squares on square selection. I think the name's probably fine. So on square selection, we would call it with a square and then create a move from it. I think that works. Okay, so on square selection of square. So now we need to make an on square selection. So we have set history. We're going to put this here. So this we have as set history, which is not what we want anymore. We want on square selection. Now it's properly in this scope. Function on square or nope, renamed the wrong one. Okay, what did I do? Okay, so, okay, cool. On square selection. Okay, so we're going to take a history. Like we have handle square selection. Okay, so what this needs to do is call set history. So handle square selection is going to take a square and call set history, taking that history, okay, so let's see. So we have okay, is that right? Okay, cool. Okay, so we have a handle square callback. It's going to take a square. From that square, we're going to set history, which actually sets the state at this level. We're going to take the current history, and then we're going to do some stuff. So we're going to say the current move, see, let new move equals, okay, what was I doing here? So, okay, so the new move is all of the last history, or all of the last move. Maybe I should rename this. Okay, so, and time gets a little bit weird in these. So previous move equals history dot at -1. Let's call this current move because we're kind of in that space of time where it is the current move. So current move is going to be all of the previous moves with, oh yeah, sorry. So the current move and then current move of square equals next value, which is, shoot, we don't have that. How are we getting next value here? Ugh. Man. Doing these types of things on stream is embarrassing. Okay, and this worked, so I'm just gonna get that out of here. Choose the one that I like. Okay, now next move. Let's see if we can do this without too much irritation. So calculate next value. Okay, so where does that function live right now? So it lives at the root, which is great. So we can actually use that. So equals calculate next value. So we're going to say current move of square equals calculate next value of squares. And oh, but do we have squares? Okay, const squares. Move this up. We'll say current squares. And then I wonder, I mean, like, it'd probably be best if we pass this in. This is kind of like, these are outside references. So I don't love that. Don't necessarily want to pass all that in either, but is what it is. I guess I could call it in the place that I call it. If I wanted to do the squares, I could just say I don't actually have to do next value of current squares. I could just pass in the next value, which is something that we could easily fix. Okay, and then we just want to add this to, we want to add the current move to the history. Okay, so let's see what it's pissed about now. Okay, now let's go into our application and see what our history looks like. Okay. Thanks. I'm glad that I'm streaming again too. It's kind of a fun experiment. But yeah, hey, have a great one. Glad you were here. Thanks for hanging with me. Okay, so tic-tac-toe step. Okay, so if I refresh this, it looks like we're not getting the new history set. Okay, so why is that? Const history, set history, use local storage, TTT history, clear history. Okay. Great. Const current squares equals history at -1. Now I want to make sure that clear history is still what I was working with before, where it returns a new array with an array of, okay, cool. So let's, oh, let's debugger that little bugger. Okay, and so right here, let's see, we have nothing. Oh, I don't assign it to anything, so we won't easily be able to see that. Scratch that. All right, if you are watching and you see what I'm doing wrong, feel free to shout it out. I'd love to know. I miss stuff all the time. Okay, cool. So what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Man, this is the point at which I kind of like want to like nuke it all and start over. I'm trying to avoid doing that, but we're getting close to like that being an inevitability. Kind of, yeah. I don't know. So maybe it'll get there. Okay. So set history. So we have. Okay, I'm gonna talk it through for the 30th time this time. Let's put a debugger here actually and see what we get. Okay, so we have a debugger here. We should now have in scope history, set history, and current squares. So what does history look like? Okay, so we have an array of 9 elements, or we have an array of arrays, of which the first array has 9 nulls, which is great. That's exactly what we want. Okay, so then we should also have a set history function, which would allow us to just put whatever we want in there. So I could just put an empty array in there and that would screw everything up. But, oh, I'm not going to have that life cycle. But we could do that. I did do that, and that was stupid. So let's refresh this and get a fresh one again. Okay. What else do we have in scope? So current squares, that should be our array. Yes. Okay. So we see that. That's great. Make this a little bigger. I can make it smaller. What do I do? That is so weird. What's going on? The pluses go to the main window and the minuses go to the dev tools. Good Lord. What have I done? What have I done? Okay, 100% again. Did that reset this? No. How do I make this bigger? How to make DevTools bigger. Sweet. Okay, well, I just broke the DevTools. Let's see if I open a new one. Go to, which one were we on? Tic-tac-toe? Okay, tic-tac-toe. No, same damn thing. Great. Perfect. Okay. DevTools are dead to me now. Nuke it. Control mouse wheel. Oh, okay. Cool. Thank you. Oh, I know. I just trying to hide my face. Yeah. Control mouse wheel. That might work. Let's try that. Or yeah, nuke it. Okay. Let's try it. Okay. So control. Oh, no, that does this. Good gracious. Okay. No. Option mouse wheel. No. Command mouse wheel. Fun. This is super fun. Okay. I guess we're just going with a, I was just praising Arc. I was just talking about how incredible Arc is, and then it's got to do me like that. So, and then, I'm doing this. So it's just like a huge thing now. So we're going to quit Arc. Open Arc back up. See if this helps. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, it looks like we're, switching browsers now. So we're going to Chrome. I did, yeah. So I did the control number pad, but it only let's see. I did the control number pad, and it only did the main window. So confused, so much confusion. Okay, where did Chrome go? Okay, and then we're going to localhost 3000. Oh, pretty sure that's where it is. Localhost, yeah, localhost 3000. I can open it there. I need to put HTTP. There we go. Okay, cool. Hopefully this works now. Now I'm curious before I break it again. Okay, so this is what I expect, right? So in Chrome, if I have DevTools selected, I can zoom it in, and if I have this selected, I can zoom that in. But for whatever reason, Arc is not loving that workflow right there. Okay. Thanks for your help. Thanks for your patience. Yes. Hello. Keep calm and game on. Yes. Thank you for being here. Glad you're here. We're just going through the Epic React workshops right now, and I'm failing super hard. So I guess maybe the benefit of that is just kind of some encouragement that I've been doing this a while and still suck. So, take that for whatever it is. Okay, let's get back into our debugger. Let's rerun that. Oh, I got to go to tic-tac-toe. And let's see. Yes, you learned more from your mistakes anyway. Yes, actually, my talk at Render ATL this year is all about failing and getting fired, and how I've pretty much gotten fired from every job I've ever had, if I'm being like really honest about it. So, but failing up, failing up. All right. So this is unusable. All right, so we have our debugger here. Let's get a console back up. Close that. Thank you for the updates, Chrome. And let's see. So we had, oh man, don't die on me. So current squares is right. So the thing that we're giving to our board should be correct at this point. I'm a little bit worried about this function here, so we'll probably move that down and make sure that we're actually getting squares. And then let's look at the game board here. So we're just handing the current squares down. If we go back, good Lord, there's just a lot of things in the wrong places right now. So we have squares. Let's put a debugger right here. Okay, so we should be, okay, where are my debuggers? Where are my debuggers at? Okay, I don't want to do handle squares yet. Okay, so this is interesting. I didn't get into the spot that I thought I was going to get with this debugger, so maybe I need to handle that differently. Okay, so we have squares. Now, I kind of just want to render, like, what's going on that this won't even render, right? So is it all this? Did I screw it up by putting this in there? I can't comment it out either because it's all funky. Okay, cannot read properties of undefined. That can be, I don't know. It's getting us closer. Let's go back to board. I'm gonna try this again. Okay, cool. That looks like it hit the right spot. Okay, so here I should have winner. No. Why not? Why not? Oh. That didn't work. Okay, let's comment this out. Naive Coder, hey, welcome. Glad that you're here. Thanks so much for being here. And that's very kind of you. No need to be a fan, though. We're all just friends here. So nice to meet you. Glad that you're here. And then, yeah. Oh, man. So many great people. Hey, Johnny Big Codes. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out yesterday, too. That was great. Oh, my gosh. We got Todd Libby in here. I don't have enough. I haven't been talking enough about my my lobster rolls. To warrant your presence, but thank you for being here. Mistakes and failure equals learning and growing. Yes, I totally agree. Love failure. It takes, as you can see by me, being here, attempting this, and doing a passable job. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, so I've taken that out. This really isn't doing a lot anymore. So really curious why it still hates me. So we're taking squares. We're not using our event handler anymore. We have a winner. I don't think we even need this stuff anymore. If I'm being super honest, if I take this out, right? And then we just have the board. Like we're just rendering squares for a board. We have squares. I'm getting some errors, but they're not really helping me so much. Error was in the board component. Okay, so board isn't doing a whole lot anymore. Okay, we're gonna do this. We are going to early return let's do this. We'll do a pre-block. This is one of my kind of favorite, oh my gosh, if I can find my cursor, favorite debugging tricks right here. I wish I had a keystroke for it. JSON.strongify, Strongbad, Homestar Runner. I do that all the time. And then what is it? Null to, let's see, value, which is going to be our squares, and then null for the replacer, and then 2 for the number of spaces that we want. So we're going to do that. So early return, which is going to return before we even get to this block, which is why it's all yellow now. And we should just see like code on this page, but it's not even getting that far, which means, so it's saying, oh, right, there's this intermediate component here. So I'm rendering a game. Oh, shit. There's another component. Damn it. Damn it. That's why. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. This is very kind of you. Thank you. And it's, as you can see, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to kind of like actually get to the good work than not. So this is the problem. I finally see it. I've moved enough code around to see the matrix. I have a problem here, which is that I kind of naively put everything in the app. This is not where I should have put this stuff. what I needed to do was I needed to kind of recognize that there's a game component and not just the board and the app. So this is my problem. I'm gonna try and handle this change by just moving stuff piece by piece. So what I want to do here is go to the no longer the game but the board, and I want to put these props on the board. Paste didn't work. So I'll just write them out. So that'll be squares, and this will be current squares. And then what was the other part of it? It was on square selection. And then this will be handle square selection. Okay, so this is the, I don't actually need the second one right now, but I'm just going to put it there. Now, all this stuff actually, 1.5, we're going to move that up into our game. If I can find it in this view. Okay, so game. So that's going to go there. Okay. Okay, so we have our game. We moved all that out of app. That'll all probably go in there as well, but right now, doesn't need to. Return game. And then I'll put these back just so that it's not pissed at the syntax. Okay, early return out of that. So we're holding on to that. Oh my gosh. Okay, finally. Okay, so finally we have this right. We finally got, good Lord, finally got a single board of squares into the squares view. We've dismantled so much up to this point. It's basically like starting over. So why not just start over? We're just going to start over. We're going to just delete all this stuff. I mean, we did this yesterday, so it's kind of like it didn't even happen. Okay, so we have an app, and that returns a component that renders a game. You're one of my favorites too. I'm sad that we haven't met in person, because like I feel like we would have a lot of fun just like, eating great food and talking about like just what a mess our industry is at times. Oh man. We have nulls now. Yes. Hooray for nulls. Oh, thanks for being here with me. This is more fun with y'all here. I'd be so mad at myself if you all weren't here, and now I can have a little bit of grace for myself because you are all having grace for me. So thank you for that. Okay, so now we have a game, and this is kind of starting to look like where everything belongs. Let's look at this game now. So we have a game, we have a restart function, we have our state. Let's move this down. I don't like it being above there. It's kind of weird because it's utility, and I would maybe like to not have it in here. I'd like to pull it out on its own, but it's also requires this, and it would be kind of weird to. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe because you'd have to pass that. This is a callback, and then it would do the clear history, but it would just be like a one-off. So it'd be a lot of ceremony to pull that out, I think, which is a bummer, but it is what it is. Handle square selection. Okay, so this is where we want to be focusing some of our work right now. Now, if I go to board, so we have our nulls. Again, hooray for nulls. We finally have nulls. We should be able to render this board now. Okay, so now we have a board. And if I click on something, nothing happens. So let's put a debugger here and make sure that we're getting what we expect. Yes, yeah. So I'm streaming to right now. I'm streaming actually to three places. So YouTube, Twitch, and on Twitter. So yeah. So the on Twitch it's twitch.tv/lunchdev. So you can join us there if you prefer. And then also hello, nice to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Um, is it Ayush? Let me know if I butchered that. I'd love to get it right. Let's see. Okay, so now we have our squares. We're going to put a debugger on our kind of handle click selection. So let's refresh that, click that. I don't see the debugger, which is maybe I'm not handling it properly. So handle square selection is passed to on square selection, which, oh yes, I removed that. So on square selection. Okay, so render squares. We need to handle this. So I'm going to write this in line for now, and then we may pull it out later. So this is going to call on square selection. And it will be the index. Because each of these squares is rendered with an index, squares of I. So we have an I there, and so we should get that index back and know which part of the array we. Let's see, can I link? Yes. Let's see, this may, hopefully there's no. All right, loop. These little loops are scare me, so I'm gonna get that before I see myself. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So we should now have that. Let's refresh this, and I click. Yes, we get our debugger, and we can see everything that we have access to. So we have our history, which is our array of 9 nulls. We have our previous move, which is the same thing. We have our current move, which is an X in the first position. Great. Looking good so far. And the result is, yeah, of course. Results. Okay, and so yeah, so the result is now an array with 2 arrays inside of it, and this one with the second move. So we're slowly starting to make progress on this, and happy because I only have about an hour and a half, and it's been almost an hour. Okay, so what do we need to do next? I would say let's take what we have in handle selection and actually make this actually, let's see, it did what it needed to do, right? Yeah, it did. So I put an X there, and if I hit an O, we're gonna play through that. Yep. Okay, cool. And play through that, and then let's make sure that it's inside of our application memory as well. So we're looking for TTT history, and yes, okay, cool. So we have these moves now. We have 0, 1, 2, and 3, and we see those numbers being applied, which is great. Okay, so this part of it is good, and I think it's kind of, it's fairly well separated at the moment. So this is just focused on the game, and then we pass squares to the board, which is going to be just the current squares, pulling the latest one off of history, using this at -1, which is really nice. And then on square selection. And so then we pass this thing down, this handler down, it gets applied to each one, returns an index with which we update the thing with the next value. And we get next value through this helper function, calculate next value. Okay, cool. This is all great. Calculate next value, yes. And so this is really easy because we give it the squares and we know what the next value is supposed to be. Okay, so that all works. Now we need to start kind of showing some kind of log for these. And I'm not sure. I guess I'll probably do this in the, where did they say it was going to be in? This is the game component. Yeah. Okay. So we'll probably do this in game. And let's just kind of follow their example. So we'll have div, and we should get some styling along with this. Class name equals game info. I was trying to be so clever by not reading too much into this, but I really should have read into this because this would have made it a lot easier. Div, that's what you get for being clever, man. That's what you get. This will be status, which we don't actually have a status yet, so I'm going to block that out. And then we'll have an ordered list of moves. Okay, now I have to actually make that. So this will be, we're going to use history because we want to iterate over all of the moves. So let's map over history, and then we'll take each move and make a list item out of it. That will need a key, which I'm going to move my face out of the way since we're at the bottom of this component right now. It's going to need a key, which we could just JSON.stringify the values. JSON stringify move. Why not? And then in here, we'll say, okay, so we'll also want an index, I think. And then that index will say move index +1. I think. Actually, I think we're just going to say index. And we want to start it at 1, right? At the index 1, because 0 is going to be a restart. Because it's just going to put it all to zeros again. Yeah, let's do that. Or actually, we can do this. So we'll map, but then we'll add a condition in here. So we'll say if index is 0, we actually want to return something different, which will be just something that says reset in here. Okay, because 0 is going to take us all the way back to 9 nulls. And then otherwise, we want to return this, which is going to show us our moves. So let's see what we got. Okay, reset. Okay, cool. Now these are eventually going to be buttons, but right now what we're seeing is fine. Okay, so reset. Okay. Now, okay, so yeah, so reset, move 3 was this, move 2 is this, and move 1 was this. Let's double check that with our history. So we have history right here. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I guess reset, I mean, when it's a button, it'll make sense. So we have that. So that seems to line up for me. This ordering kind of makes it a little bit confusing. And so, what is it? What's that API for list? Let's see, list item start number. There's a way to control this. Yeah, start. Easy peasy. And so then we're going to put this on the ordered list, and we can start at 0, which would make these match up. So we can do that. That works. And let's see. Okay, so we have these. Okay, so now we need a way to kind of jump back to certain parts in history. So we can still apply moves, and those moves will show up. Now let's make these buttons that actually jump to a certain point in history. Okay, so the way that the final example worked is we would show the current move, but it would also disable moves past that point, the selected move. So like if we clicked on 3, it would jump to 3, but it would still leave 4 and 5. It would still leave 4 and 5. Let me make sure if it was disabled or not. Okay, so it would show the current move. If we jump to 2, okay, no. It would just, we could jump around to any of the moves in here. But then if we applied a different move, it would set all of the forward history. So it's a lot like a browser. Where we can, we're going forward in time, and then we can kind of go back. But then as soon as we go forward again, it doesn't retain. It would be really confusing to try to retain the previous set of forwards. And I think it would be fractal and weird. Let's build that. Okay, so all of these buttons are going to set. We're going to have to track a current step. I think that's the only way that we can do that. There's not a way that we can kind of defer that. We actually have to track this value. So let's do that. So we have our list items. We're going to have a bunch of buttons. Yeah, just build it. Yeah, let's not talk about it. Okay, so move. So move 1. So on click. I think I can put my face back up here now for a little bit. Okay, so on click, we'll say handle. What is that? Like history cursors. Don't follow me on naming, for sure. This is a bad name, but it's what came to mind first, and so we're just building it. We're getting it on the page. That's what matters. Function handle history cursor selection. Now here we'll also get an index. Let's see. Let's just call this index for the sake of the scope of this function. So we're going to get an index here, which I'll need to call with the index. Actually, yeah, let's do that to be safe. So I'm going to call that with I. So we should get an index here. So let's just put a debugger here and see what we get. That's the final. This is ours. So if I tap on that, we get handle history cursor selection. Okay, so why are we... Oh, I have that other debugger. Handle squares selection. There we go. Okay, so if I click 3, we should get index 2, I think. Or index... Oh, sorry. Interesting. So our index value is 3. It's cool that it shows that there. Now, Okay, so let's try that. So what we're gonna do then is we need to store an index. Okay, so game, we have that state. We're gonna use our use local storage state again. So let me just duplicate that. And let's see. So what are we gonna call this? Step move count. Let's call it move count. Set move count. Okay, so then what do we want to do? So this will be the name that we want to use for local storage will be move count. I wonder if I can. I don't know what the naming is for this. I assume that it does capitals. Then the default will be 0, I think, is what we want. This could screw things up on this side of things, but we're not using it, which is fine. Okay, so every time, this is where things get a little bit weird, right? So every time we make a move, we want to update Okay, let's just start by being able to push values into that. So here we're going to set move count to index. Okay, and then let's just spit out the move count. Is move count. Okay, not a great position, but it is what it is. So the move count is 0. What happens if we change this now? So that changes to 3, changes to 2, changes it to 4, changes it to 1. Okay, this is what we want it to. So we're storing the state properly. We're just not doing anything with it. Okay, so our current squares, we're going to change current squares to be history at view or history at move count. And then we also want to disable this button. So this button will be disabled if history, no, history history of move count equals current squares. It's probably not ideal, but is what it is. Okay. Okay, it doesn't like that. History is not a function. Oh, yeah, yes, history is not a function. History at. Okay, so now it disabled all of them. History at move count equals current squares. Okay, so let me think through this. So we have also, is there anything I'm missing? Like what am I missing? So like set this true, they're all going to be true. We set this false, we're all going to be false. The data that we have access to right now is the move. Oh, right. So I want the move. These names are very bad, and I'm feeling that as the further that we get into this. So if the history of move count, oh shoot, I did it again, at move count is the current move. There we go. Okay, cool. So now our move count is 2. We've disabled this one from being selected, and then as we click around, we see the move count change, and we can't reselect something that we're already on. Okay, cool. So that's good. The reason the other one didn't work is because I was checking it against current squares, and it is that, like, it's always going to be true because that is current squares is the value. However, in the context of this loop, we have all of the moves for each of these list items, and so we're just comparing that against history, comparing the current move. Actually, I can use because Azaleus, I can say current squares. And that does the same thing. Okay, cool. So okay, so we have this part of it down. We're able to kind of like replay through history. Now, what happens if I make this selection? Okay, so that moves to move 6. Now, the reason that is because our event handler is taking the full history and putting the current move onto it. And what we need to be doing is taking we're going to slice this history. At current move. That could be, we could find ourselves off by 1, but let's see. And for this, I'm gonna restart the application here. Let's delete that. Actually, I should hook up the reset button. This is really handy. It's really handy to have a reset button, when working like this. Okay, so let's refresh that. That'll put some new defaults in there. We have we have 0. Okay, so we're gonna do X so that we see our X there. Okay, but this isn't putting moves in. Okay, so why is that? So before, because this is the current move, not an index. What I want is move count. Okay, let's try this again. Interesting. Okay. All right, debugger time. Okay, that'll show up in the source, I think. So I'm going to click that. And then what are we seeing? So our previous move is that. Our current move is that. Okay, and then what is the result? It is an array. Okay. I think we need to do +1 maybe. Okay, did that get that right? I think so. Yes. Okay, so we have 2 arrays. I added the new 0. If we step all the way through this, it should. Okay. I feel not quite right about that, but that's fine. Okay, so delete this. Really need a reset function, but we'll get there. Okay, refresh this. Oh, I have my debugger. Let's take that out. Refresh this. Okay, move 1. Interesting. So we're seeing, what are we seeing here? Okay, so it's in the way that I'm constructing this. So maybe we need a condition. Because this was working before. I don't know. Any suggestions? What am I missing here? Let's see. Maybe let's build this reset and we'll kind of figure it out on our way. So we're gonna have our button. Actually, we can just add it here. So on click, we will do the restart. And then let's just, instead of, let's see, we're gonna have to do two things. So instead of, and then we're gonna set move count to 0. Okay, so that reset us, which is great. If I hit a move, why is it not showing? We get this value here. So the second one, it seems to be working, but I'm not seeing the values. Curious. Very curious. Thank you for the like. Okay, so we keep adding moves. Okay. Getting to that point where I'm going to have to just talk through it again. Okay, so let's see what's happening here. So rendering squares. So for each square that has that, we're going to say squares of I. Okay. Which should be showing an X. And then on selection, so on square selection, we're doing that. Let's pull all this out. We no longer need it. Let's pull this out so we can see more clearly what's happening. Let's refresh that, see what happens. Oh, so it didn't actually... So we're having an issue with squares of I, it looks like. Let's put a debugger here. Okay, so we have our squares there. But it always seems to be... Okay, that's an irritating debugger because it's on an iterator. Man. Oof. It's getting late. Okay, so our application looks like this. The data looks like it should, where we have, we're getting those. Okay, yep. Okay, so we have a problem with log squares of I. This is an area where I prefer logs to debuggers because this will just log out all of the things instead of interesting. So it's not getting into this condition right here. All nulls, but we know that this isn't the case. So it's not showing the current board. Oh, and that's because the index isn't being updated properly. So that makes sense. It's showing the board for the current index, which is what we want. But I need to update that index as items are selected. So we had handle square selection is going to update this state, but we also need to set history, or sorry, set move count of count plus 1. Whew. Tic-tac-toe. Let's just delete all of them. Yeah. Okay, move count. Okay. Okay, cool. So we're seeing, so this is the current move. So we can't go back to it because we're on it. That's right. And then if we want, we can, okay, let's just set up a couple moves. And then let's change this to move. Let's put another thing in here. Actually, let's do it like this. So, okay, so we're going to put another condition in here. And if that's true, we'll spit out the text current move. Okay. Now, if I select this, it will go back to that move and says move count 2, move count 3, move count 1. Okay, cool. So we're starting to see this do what we want it to. Reset deletes all the moves. Okay, cool. So let's put this back. Go here, and then let's add a move from there. Okay, so we need some kind of condition there that's going to do something a little bit different, I think. Okay. So what would that be? So we keep adding moves to the move count. But that's actually not, it's not really a move count, is it? Because we're going to, because that's just going to keep adding, that's like the total number of moves. I really do think handle score selection. I really do think that there's something to this, like, okay, so let's try this first. So we're gonna spread out. Actually, let's do a debugger. Shoot. We're gonna reset this. Okay, so we reset the moves and the move count, and so we should click this, and then what are some of the values that we have? Oh, shoot. Yeah, actually, that's fine. Okay, so what's the history? Okay, so the history is all of that. Okay. History. So let's make a new array of the history. Okay, cool. We have a new array of the history. Now, what is the move count? Oops, there's no move count. So we have set move count, but not move count. That should be in scope. Oh, it's set move count. Any ideas? Any ideas? Okay, so move count is not here. At the point that this function is run. At least in this context, because we're working with hooks. Okay, so move. Okay, so let's assume that the move count is still going to be 0 because we haven't updated it yet. So what would history at 0 be? Okay, so what is history slice 0 at 0? Does that still give us at 1? Okay, so so we need that 1 there. So let's see if we do that same thing that we wrote here. So we're going to spread out this little goodie that we have here. So history.slice of 0, and then this is going to be history at move count. Now, actually, I think we're going to have to add a +1 to this because we're not, like, we don't have the result of this in this function. It's all kind of happening at the same time. Okay, so reset. Okay, so we got these moves. If I go back to 2 and go 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I go to 2 and hit, oh, crash. I'm going to log out move count and this whole thingy. Deep breaths. I forgot to breathe. That's what's wrong. Okay, so we got that. I'm going to go back to 2, back to 1, and then hit that. Did we get anything to log? So we logged 1. So history.slice 0. So we logged 1 as the move count. And that's where we want. We want it to be Okay, reset. See, now I can't even, okay, so. Let's see, do I need to track separate pieces of data? One for the step being viewed and one for the amount of steps being taken? I'm so confused. I really want to finish this though. What I need is a break. And some food. Yes, always food. Uh, yes, and some food. Yeah, okay. I keep wanting it to be like derivable, but I'm not thinking of a good way to keep it that way. So status moves. I think we do have to keep them separate, which is irritating. Okay, so this isn't really a move. Okay, so every time we do this, we increase the count. And then let's just do what we had before. Okay, so we're gonna take all the history, add the current move. Okay. All this works. We go to 3, show that, show that. Now we can't add moves yet. And that is because as we're handling this click, we are, oh no, wait, let's see. The other one is this one. So handle history cursor selection. Now there's actually keys in this word that this is probably not right, which is handle the cursor selection and then set the move count. I really need to be cursor, so set cursor. Okay, so we don't have a cursor yet. We're gonna add that. Const cursor equal. Now this is not something that's, I'm gonna be interested to kind of see the final example there, because this is not actually being kept. So this is gonna set, these are gonna set the move counts. Set cursor to 0. Again, I hate having all this state because it like cascades. Like all of your functions now have to like think about this stuff. Okay, so it's gonna do that. It's gonna set the cursor. The cursor is gonna be 0. We're gonna set the cursor, but maybe doing this will help me see the error of my ways. Okay, so we're gonna set the cursor and change this so that the current board is at the cursor. Okay, so right now we're splitting it up. Reset. Boink, 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 boink. Okay, so we're going to change the cursor, and that works. Can you pass move? Let's see. Can you pass move count into the handle square selection function? See handle square selection function. Can we pass move count in? Yes, actually, I think we could. It's a great question. So handle square. Okay, so handle square. So let's look at the board real quick. So board. So we're calling on square selection. We actually don't have move count there. At least not yet. We could pass the step to the board for sure. But we currently don't have it yet. And that's a really interesting point, because if we did have it there, we could call the function with it. Okay, I'm going to continue on just this track right now. So basically, if we have these as two separate values, then on square selection, I should be able to compare these, right? Because if we look at our memory right now, we have all three of these values. The cursor and the move count don't match. So like I could say something like cursor not, or if it equals the move count, then we want to do that. And if we don't have that, then we want to be selective about our history. So it'll be history dot slice of 0 and the let's see, cursor, not the move count. And then the current move. Okay, so all of that is there. So we have this. So when they equal each other, so if we're on 5 and 5, then we just, we're just going to use the history. Otherwise, we're going to slice off the part like from where our current move is and then add a move. Good Lord. Okay, let's debugger right before we return that. So we're going to click, and then what do we have as our result here? So we have a result. A result is 3 items, which would be the X. Oh, interesting. So it looks like I'm... Oh, because the current move is different, right? Oh, because the current move will be not the previous move. It'll be at the... Okay, let's reset that. Go back there. Okay. Okay, reset 1, 2, okay. Let's play that through. Get a couple moves on the board. Okay, so this is a third move. We're seeing the right thing. Okay. And then here, what's our result? Are we not here? Okay, so the result is going to be all those, so 4 moves. Okay, yep. Now if we go to 1 and we hit this, what's our result now? Okay, we have an array, but it's still using the full moves. Because I did it at move count and not current move of cursor. Man. Bad at programming. Okay, okay, restart. Okay, so we do this, put a couple moves on the board. We go back to move 1, and then we put a 0, and it crashes. So we open it back up, and we use our debugger. We reset, put a couple moves on the board. Actually, I should put the moves on the board first, and then call my debugger up. Hit that. And then we're going to hit that. We will stop at our debugger, see what the result is. The result is an array of 2 things, which this actually looks right. So we're going to put on a new so the previous move is the history at the cursor. Current move is all of the previous moves. Current move at the index square. Calculate next value of current square. Oh, wait, of current squares. We can't use current squares anymore. Well, yeah, no, we can. Current squares is history at cursor. So this can be that should all still work. But result cursor equals move count. So this array looks right to me. And I wonder if the problem is that now the move count these will be dependent, right? Okay, so maybe I kind of set myself up for failure by putting this all inside of this history. Oh my gosh, so much trouble. Okay. I am fully out of time, so I'm going to cheat and just kind of look at what we have. If I had more time, I'd continue to push through it, but cheater time. Okay, so what do we got? So this is tic-tac-toe, extra credit 3. Okay, so what do we have? Okay, so that's the board. The board stays the same. Okay, there's history so tic-tac-toe history. So they, start us out with that. Step, so there's only one step. So current step is 0. Current squares, or history of current step. Calculates the winner, all that stuff, which we hadn't gotten to yet. So select square. So if there's a winner and the current step of square return. Okay, cool. So that's just, protecting from selecting the same square. So new history equals history.slice of 0 and the current step plus 1. Okay. Squares equals current step. So those are the ones that are going to be shown. Squares of square equals the next step. Set history, spread out the new history with the squares. Set current step, history.length. So the timing of this is really important, right? Because we need to not set the step until after we've set the history. Restart, reset the history and the current step. Okay, so we're sending. Okay, moves. So these are all the moves. And this just, sets the current step. Board, click, select square. Man, that is a lot easier than I was making it out to be. All right, well, my time's up. Oh, man. That was frustrating. Can't say that I really learned a lot. I was just frustrated. And I think that honestly, I may even try to do this again tomorrow, but like start from scratch. Because like a lot of the problem was me moving stuff around and kind of the path I took to get there. So maybe try to just kind of start from scratch again tomorrow and see if I can get there if I don't have as much already on the page. This is a good reminder to me of like kind of how easy it is to overthink things, kind of when there's a lot there, when there's a lot going on already. Because there's a lot of moving pieces and you get kind of like distracted by like, oh, like this does that thing and this does the other thing. So we should, be doing that instead of kind of like backing out some of the things like clearly, if we go back to the code here, like clearly this function doesn't have to be particularly complicated. This, select square, it doesn't have to be complicated, but because of the way that I was doing it, because I had taken the history from this function, because I was doing the history change here, I didn't have like the new history value .length to put in set squares. So I needed to kind of like have a higher view of that and pull that out before it was going to be easy. So that I think is kind of where I went wrong, was putting too much of the logic inside of this and not realizing that I'll probably want to reuse pieces of that. So yeah, I'm going to try it again, I think, tomorrow and see how it goes. So anyway, thanks so much for hanging out. I hope that you got something for this, even if it was just to kind of see me struggle through something that should have been much easier. But yeah, that's it. If you kind of want to hang out with some really cool people and you're not already in the Lunch Dev Discord, we have a ton of really great people there. If you want notifications and stuff like that, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Twitch, and you'll see these when we do them again. So anyway, thanks so much for hanging out, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.